This is The Way You Lead, a show for the new era of leaders who are ready to rise. I'm Joshua Church, and every week we explore how to lead from the inside out with strength, heart, and authenticity. Through stories, strategies, and conversations with embodied leaders, you'll gain what you need to lead yourself and others in today's changing world. The way you lead matters, and now is the time to step up. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of The Way You Lead podcast. I'm grateful you're tuning in. Today, I'm looking forward to exploring this topic of conversation with you, which is holding space. It's something that is talked a lot about, like that phrase is thrown around a lot in the spiritual space, especially, but of just like, can you hold space for me? Or how you're not able to hold space for me the way I need you to, or I just need you to hold space for me. It's a phrase that's thrown around a lot, and it's can be a little bit mystified. So in today's conversation, I'm going to share my perspective on what it means and practical ways that you can learn to hold space for yourself and for other people. Because as I was leading Edge, it was such an incredibly valuable tool for building team morale and being able to build a culture in the organization where our team members felt really seen and heard, and therefore were willing to go above and beyond and be way more productive and way more effective as employees. So it's such a great thing. And it's funny, there's this meme online that I've seen that's like, it's like holding space, and it's someone like holding just like empty space, and it's like, I'm doing it, I'm holding space for you. Because it's such a funny thing. And so I like to think about this way, is like, what if as a leader, your greatest contribution wasn't something that you said or something that you did? It was in how you showed up in a certain way. And what I mean by that is how you held space in a certain way, how you gave someone on your team or someone else in a relationship, a friendship, that you gave someone else the gift of listening as your contribution. Something a friend of mine shared a while ago, which was make listening your contribution. It's really effective, especially for someone like me. I'm a talker, I'm a gabber. I'm always remembering Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where he says, seek first to understand, then be understood. Make listening a contribution. Really seek to understand. And it's a difficult thing to hold space for someone because it requires you to hold space for yourself, first and foremost. So what is holding space? I mean, the way that I look at it is holding space is being able to be present with whatever emotions are moving. And I like to say emotions are emotion, energy in motion. It's energy that's moving through our body. And when emotions move, when it comes up in a conversation, when an emotion is moving, that can make us uncomfortable for a lot of different reasons. Number one, it can trigger us in our own emotion. If I'm sitting across from someone having a conversation, whether they're a co-founder, a coworker, whether they're a partner or spouse or a parent or a sibling or a stranger, whoever it is, a friend, and if I'm sitting across the table from someone and they start having emotions move through them, or they start getting triggered in a certain way for whatever's going on in their world, holding space is, it means I have the ability to hold myself and hold that space to allow them to have that emotion move, whatever that might mean. Maybe that's crying. Maybe that's just verbal, word dumping. And that's just like, just getting something off their chest. Maybe that's feeling a feeling super fully. So holding space for someone and with someone is the ability and the skill to sit there and to hold that, to allow them to feel. Because what's the and why it's difficult is because what's the first thing that you want to do when you see someone express an emotion? We want to like quell it. We want to be, especially with crying, it's okay, don't cry, you're okay. Or we try to talk right out of it, like, don't worry, like, focus on the positive, glass half full. That's actually doing a disservice, because in that moment, that emotion just wants to be felt and it needs to be moved. And so a good leader and someone who holds space is someone that's able to sit down and to be able to sit in that, because it's uncomfortable, right? Like, it's uncomfortable. If someone else you're in a conversation across from you and is crying, like, it can certainly be uncomfortable. And here's the thing, here's the catch, is that it's only uncomfortable to the degree that you have discomfort with that own emotion in yourself. I'm going to say that again. It's only uncomfortable to the same degree that you have that emotion feeling uncomfortable within yourself. It's a mirror. So if I am not comfortable with the way that sadness feels in my body, or I'm not comfortable with expressing sadness myself, then how can I possibly expect myself to be comfortable while someone else is expressing sadness? I'm not gonna. It's a mirror, right? We're all just walking each other home at the end of the day, and it's a mirror for me. So if it's gonna trigger me, and I'm gonna be like, no, don't worry, don't cry, right? That's the first thing we see. We see, and this happens a lot with children as well. You see it a lot with kids. It's like, oh, don't worry, it's okay, it's gonna be okay. When that's our natural instinct, and we want to help, and we want to comfort. We really want to comfort, but that can come at the cost of not allowing emotion and an emotion to move and to fully be felt and therefore processed. And so holding space, and I'll give you some practical examples as well in the workplace specifically as a leader, that this has made all the difference for me. But it really comes down to that. So in order to better hold space for someone else, you first must be able to hold space for yourself, because I cannot be comfortable with someone expressing their emotion if I'm not comfortable with that emotion moving within me. And the deeper layer of this as well is it can be even more difficult when you have a vested interest in it. Like level one is something that someone is spun up or upset about that has nothing to do with you. That makes it a lot easier to just be able to sit there and hold the pose and be comfortable with holding that space to allow them to feel and to process. But the next layer is when it's something that you have a vested interest in, or you're involved in. Or the third layer is when it's something to do with you and them together. It's something like, in a co-founder relationship, it's like this emotion being expressed right now is something that triggers an emotion within me. So that's like the highest level of, okay, then I need to really be present and be calm and allow this person across from me to fully finish expressing and feeling, and then I'll have a chance to express and to feel myself. So why this matters is that I feel like a lot of people and a lot of leaders, we jump in too soon. We want to add value. We're uncomfortable with the silence as well. Silence is gold when it comes to holding space for someone. We want to fill the gap, fill the silence. So here's an example of something that happened in real time. So one of my exec team members, when we were kind of in the height of navigating some challenges, I walked in and I could tell that she was bitten her head. She was spun up, and it seemed like something was off. She wasn't her normal energetic self. And so I was like, okay, like something's present here. Like something's present. And instead of ignoring it, or just like, we had our one-on-one coming up. So instead of ignoring it or just trying to barrel through it, or me being in my own world of just like, no, you gotta show up, gotta be good. Like, let's move forward. I was like, okay, let me deal with that. So we stepped outside for a walk, which is usually how we would start our one-on-ones. And before anything else, I just called it out, and I just said, "Hey, what's up? Like, how you feeling? What's present? Something present? Something? What's alive for you?" And that's a great question to get someone to open up and feel like they have the space to express and to feel. Is what's alive for you right now? What's present with you right now? I get a sense that there's something going on. Like what's present, and all she needed was that. All she needed was to be fully heard. And so I sat there with her, and she just voiced some concerns that she had and some fears and some scarcity. And we're able to get to the bottom of it. And I was just able to sit there and be like, yeah, I hear you. What else? I hear you. Yeah, totally. And that's all she needed. She didn't need more than that. And then after that was expressed, she felt this weight off her shoulders to where it was like, okay, cool. Like that feels complete. Now we can move on to business as usual. And the way that the rest of the day would have gone, the way that our conversation would have gone, the way the productivity input, just general well-being would have gone, had I not pulled her aside to like allow her and hold space for her to express and to feel what she was feeling, it would have been it's a parallel universe. It would have been a whole different reality. So that's a real-time example and a tool of how it is. And so, I think that a big part of holding space comes down to, your emotional intelligence to be able to notice when something is going on with someone. It's like you hear the constant thing of just like, I'm fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's like, okay, you can give them space. Like literally you can give them space as well, but you can be like, hey, I'm here if you want to talk. I'm here if you need any support, if there's anything I do to support you. So I want to share a framework with you that I use for holding space practically. What does this look like practically when you have an opportunity and someone has emotions that are moving? And again, first thing first is that in order to effectively hold space for someone else, you have to and be able to hold space for yourself. And so it's developing a practice of holding space for yourself. And that can look like a number of different things. Journaling is a great way to hold space for yourself. Meditation can be as well. Naming your emotions without judgment, allowing emotions to move through you. And naming emotions is a big one as well, as developing an emotional fluency and literacy in your emotional state of being, of noticing, and even using that verbiage. Because think about the way we talk about emotion a lot is we identify with it. We say, I am sad, I am angry. We're taking that on. We're saying, I am that. You're not that emotion. You are the experiencer of that emotion. You are the observer of that emotion. So rather than taking on that emotion of even with happy, or I am happy, I am excited, just entering that word of feeling. I am feeling happy. I am feeling excited. I am feeling nervous. I am feeling sad. I'm feeling anxious. That creates just enough of a separation, even in the words that we say, which work and program our subconscious. Even with just the words we're saying, it does enough to create this sense of separation so that we can feel a bit of a distance and not have to take that on and be like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this. I am not this. I'm feeling it. Because your feelings are temporary. It's like the clouds passing by. They're going to move through and it's going to change. It's constantly in motion. So naming and developing a sense of emotional literacy within yourself is like foundational level 1. And like, I wish more people would learn this, and this needs to be shared with more people. So naming emotions without judgment. And then another way I like naming emotions is noticing. I'm noticing the sense of sadness that I'm feeling right now. I'm noticing that I'm feeling the sense of anxiousness about what's going to happen tomorrow with this big meeting I have. So being present and using that word of noticing, because it's like, yeah, I'm noticing that. And the reason why I love that word noticing is because it automatically and instantly evokes a sense of curiosity. It's like, oh, I'm noticing this thing. Oh, I'm noticing this. Like, let me be curious about this thing that's not me, but this thing that's present and moving here. And that's the best way in my experience that I found to approach and engage and work with emotions is to bring the sense of curiosity, because they're here for a reason. We don't feel an emotion without a reason, and the emotion just wants to be felt. And when we feel it fully, even the dark negative ones, when we can feel those fully, it transmutes, it alchemizes, it turns from yucky to yummy. It allows it to move through, and then we're always left with some sort of insight or perspective or breakthrough or takeaway that comes from that. So that's that developing that emotional literacy is foundation. Now getting on to how to practically hold space for someone else. So pre-framing it, the pre-frame I like to offer is you're approaching this conversation with, I'm not trying to fix this. You're not bringing your fixing it face, or your fixing it mentality, or your fixing it frame. This is not a problem solving conversation. So to go into any one of these conversations, you have to be able to take that problem solving leader, manager, whatever hat that you have, and put it all over to the side and be like, I'm not trying to fix anything. There's no performance here. It's this curiosity of, tell me, what's going on? And that can be a great way to segue into it. Tell me what's going on. Like, I'm here to listen. I'm here to support. Like, what's present? What's alive for you right now? And the person on the other side will be craving that question, and will usually, sometimes it can be met with resistance, but will usually be like, okay, here it is. And they'll just start going. So continue. The way I like to think about it is when you're holding space for someone, you first kind of crack them open, is like, let them go. And it's like you want to deflate the tire. It's like there's air in a tire, and it's like you pop the tire and it decompresses. And there's this big burst at first that's loud, and then there's some more that comes. And really the juice is not in the big burst, but it's in the more that comes. And so the spacious questions that I love asking are, what else? Is there more? And continuously asking these spacious questions. What else? What else? Is there more? And while you're doing it, the thing that I always love to do as well is, and it's important to do, is to mirror, to validate, and also to appreciate. So that looks like, as they're talking and as they're sharing these things of, I hear you. I totally get that. That makes so much sense. I'm with you. I hear you. I can appreciate that. Even if you don't, you can even do this in a way where you don't agree with them. So for example, I've had many of these conversations where I'd be talking with my co-founder and like, I wouldn't necessarily be agreeing with him when I really wanted to do this one activation that was going to be an investment, and he was feeling really wound up about it because he didn't want to, he thought it was a risky investment. And as I was holding space for him, he was just like, and there's no certainty if it's going to work. And in my mind, I'm like, it's going to work. Like, I know it's going to work. And of course I wanted to interject that, but I didn't. I said, I hear you. I totally get that. I appreciate that. Like, that's absolutely a possibility. And so that's the difference in the mindset when you're showing up, even in a conversation where you're involved in, but it's, I hear you. I totally get that. I can appreciate that. I'm with you. You're on the same team as them, on the same side of them, even if it's something to do with you or not to do with you, or it doesn't matter. You're not sharing your input. You're just knowing that like you are with them and you are there and present as they are feeling through. And that is the magic, because that is what gives them the permission to feel it fully, knowing that you are there with them. Because we co-regulate as human beings. We co-regulate. So when you can bring your regulated nervous system and your regulated self to the conversation, and you can be with them, they lean on you, and they lean on that so that they can feel the safety, the sense of safety to process with themselves, because it's usually a lot on their own nervous system and their own body. And so they're leaning on you, and they're gonna lend that from you. And so that's why your presence and your intention is, and your listening is their greatest contribution you can give. And the way that you show up is the best thing that you can do, because you are helping them. It's like you're giving them training wheels to ride the bike. So it's really important that they feel that groundedness and that sense of safety and that sense of, I'm with you. I'm on the same team as you. Like, let's feel through this together. So the way that we want to get, and the place that we want to get to with this conversation is, does that feel complete? And this is a question I always ask towards the end. Or is there anything else? Like, no, I think that's all. And a question that my friend Sam asks all the time, which I love, and this can be a question to add to this framework, is, was there anything left unsaid in this conversation? Before we close out this conversation, was there anything left unsaid? It's a great question. Is there anything left unsaid? Because that question will there's usually always something in the back of our minds, and that question brings that up to front. And if there is a sense of safety in the relationship and conversation already, then you're going to have, I ask this question a lot now, 90% of the time there's something else. And so it's a great question. Is there anything else left unsaid? And then always we want to get to that closure and wrap point of, does that feel complete? And for them to say, yes, that feels complete. Thank you. And you'll notice there will be an energetic shift that happens. And that's it. And that's the process of holding space for someone. And you can also clarify their needs as well. And because sometimes they can look to you for advice or input, or they can ask, like, what do you think? And if they're asking in the middle of them decompressing and really processing, you can say, I'll share what I think in a minute, but what else? I want to hear more from you. And they're like, oh yeah, thanks. And they'll keep going. So it's really important to allow them to feel fully heard, fully like they've let everything out. They've got everything off of their heart and their mind, and they felt through that emotion fully. They've cried through it fully, and you can just be there to support them in that. And you can ask them, would it help to hear my thoughts, or do you feel complete after sharing? And a lot of times they'll just say, no, I feel complete after sharing. Thank you so much. And they'll be so grateful, because just that is such a skill in and of itself, and it's so needed. But oftentimes they can say, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think? And then you can feel free to share your thoughts, but it's very permission based, and it's very spacious. So the other thing I want to add to that, so that's the practical framework of holding space. The other thing I want to add to that is, holding space includes silence. It's not something that needs to be filled. So if there's silence as they're processing, or as they're working through emotion, or they have the quivering chin about to cry, like, just you being there is such a contribution, and is safety. Like, you don't need to feel it. You don't need to, go in and pat them on the back really hard, or try to hug them very, very quickly. Like, those can be helpful. Like just a hand on the back, or just like a hand on their hand, or just like two hands on their hands, like looking at them, to being super present. It's like, those can be very helpful. Trust your intuition, trust your gut with that as well. But I found like a little goes a long way when it comes to that. But silence is a big part of this, is just being like, yeah, I hear you. Sucks. that sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. And just being in that space. And again, you can see as I'm walking through this framework, how important it is for you to be comfortable with those emotions within yourself in order to effectively pull this off. So that's the framework that I use. And the impact of holding space is, I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, it builds trust, it builds the safety, it builds emotional intelligence. People feel seen. They don't feel managed. They feel seen. They feel heard, and it creates this ripple effect, because when you model this and you can show up in a conversation like this, then you're helping that person develop that literacy within themselves and go be that person for other people. Can you imagine what our world would look like if these skills were something that everybody focused on developing, and we could develop the sense of emotional literacy and fluency, and the ability to be comfortable with our emotions flowing, and the ability to communicate and hold space for one another, especially with people we disagree with? Like, that's world peace, and that's where we're going, because I believe it's possible. Because if we can teach these skills, and if we can learn how to do this, and we show up in these interactions, like, that's possible. I really do believe that's possible. So it starts with you right now, and being a better space holder for yourself and for others. So that's what I wanted to share today. Just a couple, closing thoughts and integration here for you is notice, like, where are you rushing to provide a solution, to provide your input? Where are you rushing to fill space with sound or with your thoughts? And where can you, and how can you this week, the next time that opportunity arises, how can you view that as an opportunity to sit and to hold the pose and to be still and to hold that space for yourself and for others? And practice it this week. Choose one moment to listen without solving in something that comes up in some conversation. Use some of those framework, use these questions. So that's what I want to share today. It's a topic I love to talk about and share more about, because it's changed my life entirely, and I've seen the absolute direct return on investment from implementing this in a professional sense, in a work sense, with a co-founder, with executive team, with dozens of employees, and it makes an absolute difference just as in a human being standpoint. It connects you to humanity in such a deeper way. So if this was helpful, please share this with another person you think that could use this or build these tools of emotional literacy, because it goes a long way. So thank you lots. Love you lots. And I will see you next time.